because it's a challenge that I heard of.
But we're not talking about right or wrong. We're talking about what's actually happening or what is and isn't. And that's what it is.
And that's but shouldn't those companies, shouldn't it fall on them to say, if we keep showing this, then it's just going to perpetuate it, right? I mean, that's what we're saying. You see it, monkey see, monkey do.
Well, again,
right?
Good and bad. Good and
bad. Yeah, but that's the reality, though, right?
Hold me back.
Yeah.
I believe in the freedom of speech and the freedom of the media, but
at a certain point,
there's
you
good
have
and
to,
bad.
Yeah, you have to say, okay,
enough is enough.
Yeah, if some impressionable person sees that and says, ooh, I can do that. Oh, I'm going to put it on my TikTok, or I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel. Because it happens often.
Watch me drop kick this man.
Yeah. Let me see if I can do it. Let me make it bigger and better.
Okay.
Or I'll do 3 in a row or whatever. Where does that end? And how do we police that though? I mean, like you said, there is.
I don't think it's feasible.
Yeah.
I think what Conrad was getting to, or at least from what I'm taking away, is that it's that part of that education, where that conversation is eventually going to lead to, is educating people and really understanding. Okay. Is this the best choice to make? How do I come off in this situation by doing this, by choosing to do this? Mm-hmm. And how do we change that? How do we change how people view us? Yeah. Because ultimately, that's all we have control over.
So let me ask you this. We're done with that segment.
And it's a tough segment, but
it needed to be said, though. I want you to put it out there because of what we're doing of late. This is what we.
I want to know. What led you into the martial arts? Was it self-protection? Did somebody punch you in the head and say, "Oh, whoa, it's a violent world. I need to learn how to protect myself"?
Typical. My reason of getting into martial arts. I grew up as an Asian kid in Aurora, Colorado, in the '80s. There was a handful of
karate kid
over there, and yeah. So I had my fair share of racism and being bullied.
Right.
Wow.
Because you're different. There's just no hiding it. There was a type of clothing I could put on, and it's pretty obvious.
Unless you can do this to your eyes all the time.
Wait, you're Asian? I didn't know.
And so, of course, watching a Bruce Lee movie, instantly there was a connection there. And I thought, wow, this is something that I wanted to do. And, again, going back to martial arts, it's one of the best activities human beings can do. Whether you're young, old, guy, girl, black, white, yellow, orange, it doesn't matter. It's one of the best activities you can do, because for kids, especially for me, it gave me a lot more confidence. It also gave me a group of people to hang around with where I was accepted as well.
Right.
We are a group of weirdos, I have to admit. I think martial artists, by and large, are just like the ones that never really fit in with anyone.
Yeah, you joined a group to get away from the other groups.
Right. No, well, you go in for personal reasons, but then you realize, oh, hey, there's a lot more people than I thought have similar ideas.
Yes, absolutely. Around,
but we are weirdos.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there's a group of the population that think we're violent as well.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I think most martial artists, for the most part, are very passive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, don't we learn that in school not to be assholes?
Yeah, a lot of martial artists are very responsible. Unfortunately, again, there's a small amount of outliers that give us the bad name. And just like a water bottle, if you have a water bottle and just like a martial artist with not a lot of knowledge, they're like this water bottle. There's not a lot of water in it, and it makes the most noise. Uh-huh. The water bottle with the full amount of knowledge, when you shake it, you don't hear anything. And so those people, they make all the noise. And so, maybe they pick fights, and they're on social media getting fights or whatever. And then everyone thinks, oh gosh, these martial artists, they're so violent.
They're just this way. Yeah.
But it's the opposite. Yeah. The majority of martial artists are very responsible, low-key, mature people.
So do you think media really had a big part in putting a light of violence on martial arts?
Media does. It does.
Media has a big time.
What do you want in the movies? In the movies, you don't want some guys getting in each other's face and saying, "I apologize, man. That's my fault. Let me buy you a drink." who's gonna
That would make a crappy ass
watch
movie.
that movie, right?
That's not John
We
Wick.
should make that movie. Just see what happens.
Exactly. No one's gonna
We're going to be negative money, you
we're
fool.
gonna bump into each other and go, hey.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My
I like
fault.
your haircut.
Yeah,
No, it's
yeah.
not.
No,
Buy you a
that's
drink?
cool. All right.
Let me get you some tea.
Yeah, we'll just have a bunch of those situations.
Yeah, I don't think that movie's going in. There won't be a sequel. There won't be a trilogy. That ain't going anywhere.
But
What'd you say?
so you're right. The media does have something to do with it, and of course these people have a lot to do with it as well too. It's so easy to make that noise, but
Then to emulate that.
hopefully, again by shedding light on this subject, people will realize
We're not violent people.
We are not.
I'll kick your ass if you say otherwise.
Except him. He's the one that makes
I'm the least violent in this room. I don't know how to fight. Now this is crazy, and you're gonna think I'm goofy about this, but
Too late.
that analogy that you did with the water bottle and all this, it almost comes across as a Bruce Lee-ish, right? I mean, Bruce Lee always talked about water and be water, my friend, and the whole.
I went
bit.
with monk.
Yeah, but your views, or just the way I see you looking at things, you have a very optimistic view of everything. It seems that you're I
very
mean,
positive.
all the things that we've been talking about, all the negative stuff, you're saying no, but hey, there's this other side, and I mean, you're constantly bringing it back to the light.
Felt like he
versus
was
the
mediating our argument.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that about you, because here, I don't know a lot about you, but the stuff that I've seen and the stuff that we researched,
Dude, you're a badass.
yeah, I mean, you're like one of those Buddhist monks, and you go around town, kind of like Kwai walking San Francisco and just trying to set things. I mean, that's what I'm getting. I mean, that's just the vibe that you put out, and it's a good thing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome, because again, just even this analogy with the thing that the guy makes all noise, but it's knowledge, and you're right, knowledge is a key. I mean, we talk about that during our free session. The seminar. We said, hey, the more knowledge you have, the safer you can become. Where you don't even have to raise a fist, that you can just cross the street rather than going into the crowd.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is what we preach, and to see you, just for the simple analogy of this bottle, water bottle, was just really impressive. Where does that all come from?
Again, I would say from my Buddhist background, except, again, when I say Buddhist, there goes that wall right there. Oh, you're Buddhist, I'm Catholic, I'm Muslim. So I don't like to use that, because knowledge belongs to everyone. It doesn't belong to a certain religion or a group of people. It belongs to everyone. So I'm very cautious when I say I'm Buddhist or this
Folks,
is my
it's
background.
not the source, it's what you do with the message.
Absolutely. And we often talk about impermanence, that nothing lasts forever.
Right.
There's a time of eternity out there, and our life is just a blink of an eye in eternity. And this problem, when you look at the eternity of time and the infinity of space, all these problems are just very little. So sometimes,
little blips.
Yeah, we when we see something online on a video, so some poor elder getting pushed over and then they hit their head on the cement and then they pass away, it's enough to make us very angry, right?
I can't
And it
imagine
does.
you being angry.
There's anger in all of us. Everyone has a dark side.
Don't let them fool you.
It's very easy to be angry, to have those kind of emotions. And it's so big in our world. It's all that encompasses our mind. And so sometimes it's good for me to take a step back and realize, okay, in the eternity of time and the infinity of space, where does this all fit in? And that kind of balances me out. You can't live in that eternity of time and that infinity of space all the time, because then you wouldn't care about anything. But then you shouldn't let these issues engulf you and make you a negative person and just consume your soul. So it's a balance.
Is it about being in the middle and balancing things out, or is it just being flung in one direction to the other, back and forth?
It really is. Being flung in. Isn't that life? It's an emotional roller coaster.
Oh yeah, big time.
Some days are great, and then some days, man, everything that can go wrong went wrong.
Dude, I have that once a year. That's not.
Oh, he does.
I have
It
this.
is the most bizarre thing.
Yeah,
But about once a year, there's at least 3 major things that happen in his life, like in sequence, that are just detrimental, and you're just like, oh, and I just see the stress on his face and his wife, and I'm like, dude, you need a cleansing or something.
You know,
he's trying to bring in a witch doctor.
I really am.
And I got to tell you, as a Buddhist, we learned this too, but it's just a universal truth that everyone has suffering.
Yeah.
No matter, you look at somebody and they're walking by with the Rolex and the Ferrari or whatever, and you're thinking, how could this guy's life possibly be bad?
Right.
Trust me, everyone has suffering.
Yeah, the process of getting there was really bad.
Everyone eventually encounters something that makes them very sad, whether that's something with their health, something with their finances, something with a loved one, or even just stress from media, COVID. Oh my gosh. And that's where my compassion comes in as well too. A lot of people ask me, why all this hate? Why all this violence towards Asian right now? And I tell them, I get it. We're all going through stress right now because of COVID. COVID turned a lot of people's lives upside down.
Oh, for sure.
People who used to work out, they don't get to work out anymore. People who used to come into the office and hang out with their friends, they don't get to do that anymore.
Kids,
some people have lost their jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Some people have lost their homes.
I got laid off twice.
Yeah.
There you go. And so there's a lot of stress out there. And when there's stress, what happens?
Yeah.
People break.
Short temper.
Yeah, people break. And so I get it. That's why.
I drank.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we all have our
See
way
how
of
we
dealing
stopped
with
the
it.
conversation just flat?
Because of
alcoholic.
There goes another path. There goes another complete path that
You ruined
deserves
the show.
Talking about it angry,
But,
and I'm like, I drank.
But hey, you're honest too.
I think the biggest thing, and I do a short segment every Wednesday on our channel too, and one of the things we talked about a week ago was the idea of being honest with yourself. And I think that's paramount to any sort of growth, is to be able to see the good things in you, the positive, the achievements, but also see the things that are holding you back and that are negative and toxic
and
in
to
your
be
life.
honest about it, that you want to make a sense. Okay,
Exactly.
And like what you were saying, the balance.
Oh,
right? A lot of people, unfortunately, it's so easy to think negative of ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
All
It's
the
very
time,
easy.
yeah.
Like, oh, this sucks. My life sucks. This situation sucks. It'll never get better. And sometimes you guys swing yourself, push yourself back to the other side.
And then you're like, oh, I'm the best. I'm great. Okay, now you're just being arrogant. Push yourself back. Push yourself back. You suck a little. You suck a little.
Back the other way.
Just like life, it's a tightrope.
Well, that brings up something, because you are a master practitioner in NLP, neuro linguistic programming.
Yes.
How does that work? How did you get into that, first of all?
Oh gosh, just wanting to improve myself, and
Really?
why not?
Wow.
And of course, in the self-development world, who's the biggest name? Tony Robbins.
Oh yeah,
And-
banana hands.
Yes, and he in the I think 80s he was an NLP practitioner, and that's where the root of all his teaching comes from. Is
Really?
neuro-linguistic programming, and it's nothing like weird or witchcraft.
It's not a cult following.
Yeah, it's not a cult. It gives you
It's
tools.
not Scientology.
No. Although that's not all bad either. Actually, that's not all bad.
Careful, Tom Cruise will find you.
Yeah, and John Travolta. Yeah, but
It was all him.
this show is not going anywhere now.
We're totally off the
No
rails.
one's gonna watch this now.
No, this is why they're watching, because these
one's
three
gonna
idiots
watch
are just
this now.
sucking off.
But,
Why are you involving him in that?
And already
He's our
honest.
guest. You said 3 idiots. I'm like, dude, there's only 2 of us.
I'll be part of the group.
There you
I'm
go.
here anyways. I'm
Yeah.
between you guys, so I'll be part of the group.
We're weighing them down.
But just like Buddhism, Buddhism to me, anyways, isn't a religion. It's a set of tools
Well,
to live
let
a
me
better
ask you
life.
about
And
Buddhism,
so is
because
NLP.
I want to delve into this just a little bit, because I hear Buddhism and I see the whole monk robes and the whole bit.
Beads.
But you're from Colorado, so did you go back home to Asia, or how did all that come? Or did you find a local monastery in
Colorado?
Yeah. There is a small population of Asians in Colorado and Vietnamese. There's a small
Right.
population of Filipinos and
Right.
Koreans, Japanese, as well as Chinese in the Denver area. And we belong to
Okay.
a small Buddhist temple.
So it did happen from way over there. Okay.
in
'Cause
Colorado.
I didn't think you'd find it here.
Yeah, it's my family's religion. Although there's different, I guess you could say, versions of Buddhism.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and-
which one am I thinking about? Like Kwai Chang Caine? Is that Shaolin monks?
Yeah,
Are they all-
that's called Mahayana Buddhism, which is prevalent in China and in Korea and Japan.
Wow, we're learning something today, folks.
And that Buddhism requires a lot of ritual and ceremony and memorization of scripture. And that's I found that's not the Buddhism I agree with.
So
And although I grew up with that
The
Buddhism.
Orthodox,
I
you
guess
would say.
so.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of,
Okay.
of protocol and rules.
Pageantry and
Yeah, exactly. And there's another form of Buddhism, which is closer to the original type of Buddhism, which is, I would say Buddha was like Tony Robbins. He was a self-help guy, and there's a lot of, and he gave us a bunch of tools to
Right.
live life more comfortably, to live life more fulfilled, and to figure out how to get past grief and how to overcome those kind of things. Questions everyone has.
overcome ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but that kind of brings to mind Confucius. I mean, the way is that almost...
I thought Jesus.
Yeah, but Confucius, looks at things a certain way and says, hey, Confucius say blah, 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 as you always hear it.
Some wisdom.
I mean, is that the same idea? Or, obviously, Confucius was one place and the Buddhist monks are...
Yeah, well, Confucianism is very standardized, very rigid type of belief. Although there's a place for it too. It's very orderly. Like everyone has their place, and so if this was a Confucianism, and in Vietnam and China as well, Confucianism and Buddhism and Taoism were intermingled. I mean, it's just all mixed in there. And so the Confucianism comes through martial arts. You see it too, like the very Confucius styles, the military styles. You say
Okay.
yes sir, no sir. Everyone has their place. Everyone has their rank. Even in family, when you say uncle, there's a word for higher uncle and lower uncle. There's a word for higher uncle on my dad's side,
Yeah.
which is higher than the uncle on my
My
mom's side.
So like
Yeah.
first uncle and second uncle and third and fourth.
Yeah, like senior uncle, junior uncle.
Senior
wow.
first uncle.
Yeah, senior paternal uncle, senior maternal uncle, and so everyone knows their
Really?
place. Yeah, there's so I would call every uncle by a certain title.
So you had to.
Yeah, you
this is
had
part
to,
of your,
and if you messed up, that was disrespectful.
Wow.
So it was always better to
To just shut up and walk.
to call him by a senior title,
It's
and then
better to-
they would say, "Oh no, I'm only a junior uncle." And the same thing in the streets too. So in the street, you would call people by uncle and auntie,
Right.
Right. I
but
get
you would
that.
always say senior uncle, senior auntie.
you would shoot high.
Yeah, and then
they
you miss
tell
the mark,
you,
then
yeah,
they say,
yeah,
"Oh
yeah.
no, I'm not that old."
Better than going
No,
low.
and then pissing
and
them
then
off.
Yeah, which is funny because
Insulting.
in America, if you
Yeah.
call somebody older than they are, they'll be like, I'm only this age. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so everyone kind of knows their place, and even like
Wow.
if we met,
Yeah.
like I would even call you like older brother, just to make sure, because I don't know, maybe you are older than me,
Yeah,
but I
and
would still
that's-
say, hey, older brother, and then you would say, oh no,
No, I'm only
How old
52.
are you? How old are you? Yeah, exactly. Then I would say, yeah, then I'm right. I didn't miss my mark. Yeah, and I would call you older brother or possibly even uncle, just to make sure I wouldn't miss my mark.
Okay, I'm only 58.
No.
Where am I in the grand scheme of
No,
things?
but that's so that I don't offend you.
No, I
if
get
I
that.
happen to call
Well,
you,
we have that in the Philippines where
Yeah.
we say koya, which just means brother.
Or
And we
ate
leave it
for
at that.
females.
Or ate for females, but there is no ranking in that sense. It just
okay.
says koya or
brother.
uncle.
Well, I'm sorry, but this past weekend there is a ranking because their oldest sibling is a sister. And whenever they refer to ate without the name afterwards,
That just means she's
that
the
just
top
means
dog.
the top one, the matriarch of the siblings.
Oh wow. Okay.
So there is a bit of
Yeah,
a hierarchy
for
in that
us,
sense.
anybody below her would just be Ate and then whatever that
Their name is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, Sister Leilani, Sister Joanne,
Right.
Sister Rachel. But for Ate, it's just
Big
Ate.
sister.
Yeah. For the longest time, I just thought her name was Ate. When I was little.
He's the second to youngest of 11.
Yeah, so I had to,
Wow. Dang. That's
yeah. So
impressive.
I'm on the low end of that totem pole. Then.
Okay.
Yeah, military dad.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, my dad. Yeah, no surprise there.
Wow.
You know, that's fascinating that now that we're hearing it, because it makes a lot of sense of the way you hear things. So like, even in the Kung Fu movies, there's older brother, you know,
Yeah,
they would always use their terms.
Exactly.
And Diana Wang, our good
Yeah.
friend, who she always says, you know, older brother, and we always know she meant Jackie Chan. You know, big brother. You know, she's a big
Big Brother Jackie,
It's,
yeah.
it's automatic. She doesn't even have to say Jackie. We just know
Yeah.
she's referring to Jackie Chan. Thank you, Diana.
And that's where that comes from, is that
So
Confucianism
Confucianism, okay.
portion. But back to the Buddhism.
Yeah.